A lot of y'all got to spend some time with in Chicago. What up to my Chicago kids? Yeah, it is an honor. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. As for those who don't know me, my name is Olayinka Obasanya. Most people, as you can tell, call me O. But they earned the privilege to call me O because they knew my actual name, which is Olayinka, okay? A lot of people jump right to, when I tell them my name, I'm like, my name's Olayinka, and they jump right to like, well, that's too hard, can I just call you John? And I'm like, no, you can't call me John. My name's Olayinka, all right? So I started getting gangster a couple of years ago with my name. I'm like, look, you need to call me, but I don't do all that, but I'm just, Anyway, so last week, according to my knowledge, you guys talked about the story of David. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool. And then during the week, y'all read about Solomon. Great. So King David, as we all know, man after God's own heart, definitely one of the more popular kings that we know in the Bible. And so is King Solomon. King Solomon was, the guy with all the wisdom, and we learned a lot about him growing up in the church as well. But the king we're going to learn about this week is not as known. He's not as popular as King David or King Solomon, all right? But before we get into the life of the king we're learning about today, how many of us have made some bad decisions? All right? Some of you are not raising your hands, and maybe you were like little angels that came down on clouds from heaven. Hey, that wasn't me. But now, we've all made bad decisions, and I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life, especially in middle school, high school, and in college. One story in particular was when I got my car in college. When I first got to college, there was this big party everyone was talking about. And I was like, I gotta go to this party. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be a great time. All my friends were talking about it. I was like, man, this party is going to be the party of the century. Like, we were all getting ready. Like, this party's about to be lit. So the first bad decision that I made was deciding to go to this party because I had no business being at this party. This party was not what I would recommend the youth of Harris Creek to go to when they go to college. Derek can probably tell you about that. Yes, your youth pastor was not perfect back in the day. I knew him. But it's all love. He's perfect now through the blood of Christ. Anyway, so I'm getting ready for this party, and all my friends, and we're all getting ready for it, and they get in my car. Like I said, I just got a new car, so I'm riding, in the old mobile, just cruising, doing my thing, and and everyone's riding with us, and as we're riding, we got the music bumping, we're ready to go, like we're hitting the Dougie, Derek knows about that too. You guys hit this dance now, that was the shoot, but we used to hit the Dougie back in the day, so we're all just having a great time in the car. So mistake number 2. Back in the day, I had this thing called Metro PCS, right? Okay? That's mistake number 2. I had a phone with Metro PCS, so the signal was absolutely horrible, like terrible. Like anywhere I would go and try to get on the internet, if I wasn't by Wi-Fi, it was a disaster. So I banked on this Metro PCS signal to get me to my destination. And if you have Metro PCS, hey, I love you, Jesus loves you, everyone loves you, but your signal is not good. But anyways, I had Metro PCS, and that's kind of, that was mistake number 2 because I depended on the GPS for Metro PCS to get us to where we were going. And the third mistake was actually mistakes of my friends, was that they brought their phones not charged, so their phones were all on the verge of death as we're going to this event. And the fourth mistake was thinking that I knew Waco as good as I thought I knew, which I didn't know Waco good at all during that time. So anyway, we're riding, we're cruising along, and I'm, following my GPS and trying to get to the place we're going. And as we're driving, all of a sudden I start seeing less and less buildings and more trees. And I'm starting to okay, the GPS still, we're still good. We're good, guys. And I'm driving, and as I'm driving, I'm seeing less and less light and more darkness. And as we're driving, I'm seeing less and less cement and more gravel. And by the time you know it, we are in the middle of nowhere, Texas. No one knows where we are. We're literally in pitch black darkness. Not knowing where we are, my GPS is acting all the way up, so the phone is gone. And then my friends' phones had all died, and we're literally wondering if we're about to die. And this is literally like, we're scared to death. Like, we've seen the movies, we know what happens, and you were right. I have one good idea left of me, one good decision, and I decided to play like this Kirk Franklin. Do you guys know who Kirk Franklin is? Yes, some good old Kirk Franklin gospel. I wasn't really living for Jesus or really following him, but I did know that my mom played some great gospel music during hard times, and that's what I was about to do. So I put on some Kirk, I cranked it up, and we ended up like literally 30 seconds into the song, we start seeing light again, we start seeing buildings, and we ended up getting out of the darkness, all right? So that's the moral of my story. When times get hard, listen to Kirk Franklin, okay? No, that's not the moral. But let's look at the life of King. If you guys can open with me to 1 Kings, verse 12, we're going to look at the life of a king who made some decisions that not only had a bad impact on him, but it had a bad impact on the people that he was serving, all right? So we want to look at the life of King Rehoboam, who is the son of Solomon, who was the son of David. All right, so let's open up to verse 3. And it says, so this is after King Rehoboam had been made king, right? He's the son of Solomon. Solomon dies. The kingdom has been passed down to King Rehoboam. And, the people come up to him, and this is what they say. And they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the assembly of Israel came and said to Rehoboam, your father made our yoke heavy. Now therefore lighten the hard service of your father and his heavy yoke on us, and we will serve you. So the people are coming to King Rehoboam, and they're like, dude, your father had us in slavery. He had us in like his mind, and the burden that he placed on us was super heavy, and we're coming to you. We're asking that you would please lighten the load, lighten the load of all the work and the bondage that we're in. Lighten the load, and we'll serve you. You'll have our allegiance. You'll have our devotion and our loyalty. King Rehoboam in verse 6 now. Then King Rehoboam took counsel with the old men who had stood before Solomon his father while he was yet alive, saying, how do you advise me to enter this people? And they said to him, if you will be a servant to this people today, and serve them, and speak good words to them when you enter them, then they will be your servants forever. But he abandoned the counsel that the old men gave him, and took counsel with the young men who had grown up with him, and stood before him. So he goes to the older, the elders, the ones who worked with his father, and he asks them, he says, so the people are telling me to lighten the load of my father. Well, what do you guys think about that? And they give him some good advice, some good counsel. They said, maybe you should listen to their complaints, maybe you should listen to their grievances, maybe you should listen to their worries, and come and serve these people, right? And listen to what they're saying. And he's like, nah, I'm good, you guys are old anyway, and you stink, and I'm gonna do it things my way. So he goes and he listens to the advice of those he grew up with, and this is what he said to them. What do you advise that we enter this people who have said to me, lighten the yoke that your father put on us? And the young men who had grown up with him said to him, thus shall you speak to this people who said to you, your father made our yoke heavy, but you lightened it for us. Thus shall you say to them, my little finger is thicker than my father's thigh. Right, this is bigger than the thigh. Anyway, my little finger is thicker than my father's thighs, and now, whereas my father laid on you a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. This is what Rehoboam ends up telling them. that he's going to discipline them not only with whips, but with scorpions. And then when all of Israel, I'm in verse 16 now, and when all of Israel saw the king did not listen to them, the people answered the king, "What portion do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse." Right, so David is Rehoboam's grandpa, right? He says, they say, "What portion do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Look now to your own house, David." So Israel went to their tents. And in verse 19 it says, "So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day." So Rehoboam makes a decision that not only impacts his own life, but literally leads to the division of an entire nation. 10 of the 12 tribes of Israel decide to follow another king by the name of Jeroboam, and only 2 tribes are left. So Rehoboam's decision-making, Rehoboam's decision-making led literally to the division of a nation. And how does this all apply to our lives? Each and every one of us in this room have to make decisions on the daily, right? And a lot of times when we make decisions, we make decisions thinking, okay, this is going to have an impact on my life and my life alone. But the reality is, the way that God created us as a communal people, the decisions that we make don't only have an impact on us, but they have an impact on those around us, right? And a lot of times we don't realize this, but this story is such an example of what happens when we're thinking of ourselves and we're going about life in the way that we want to. What Rehoboam, when you look at the story, what we realize is that Rehoboam didn't ever seek God. He didn't ever go to God like his grandpa David did and seek God's counsel and seek God's wisdom, like get on his knees like, God, I need your wisdom, I need your direction. Right? He takes matters into his own hands and he only listens to the advice that he wants to listen to, and it leads to the division of a nation. And the truth of the matter is, as believers, here's the thing, our intimacy with God reveals the character of God. And when we know the character of God, we can trust him. And think about the people that you go to during your hard times when you're trying to make a decision. You might go to your dad, you might go to your mom, you might, go to Derek. You go to people that you trust. You go to people that you know because you've had intimacy with them. You had a relationship with them. So they're trustworthy people, right? Because they're trustworthy, you know them and you know their character. You know that you can go to them to help you make a decision that you need to make it. A lot of us in here are making decisions on what college we want to go to, what sport we want to play. Some of us are asking what we're about to eat for dinner tonight, But God wants to be with you in each and every one of those decisions. Like God's heart is to help us walk through and navigate through this life. That's his heart for us. But if we're not intimate with him, if we don't have that relationship with him, then we don't know God's heart for us, and we take matters into our own hands. And when we take matters into our own hands, it doesn't only affect us, but it affects our classmates, it affects our families, it affects our friend groups, it affects our church. Like some of us in here are called to, all of us in here are called to change the world. Each and every one, I truly believe that if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, you are called to change the world around you. And if you're not walking intimately with God, seeking his wisdom, seeking his presence in all the things that you do, you're going to go back onto what you know and your experiences and your history. And that's how you're going to make decisions. But God is like, no, there's so much more. There's so much more. And my heart for us to get tonight, if you don't get anything, it's simply this. You don't have to make decisions by yourself. There's a God who created the universe, who created the stars, who created the sun, who created the planets, who wants to get down on your level and have a deep, intimate relationship with you. And he wants to help you navigate through middle school and help you navigate through high school and help you navigate through college and have an impact on the world around you that goes beyond what you could ever do on your own. And that's it. And as you guys go into your small groups, my heart is just for you to be intimate with him, to know how much he loves you, to know how much he cares for you, to know how much he wants to enter into your world and what's going on. And it's not hard, right? We can get intimate with God through our quiet time, through the small groups you guys are about to go into, through our reading of the Word, through worship, through prayer. We get to know God and navigate through this crazy life. So thank you, Harris Creek, and my hope and my prayer is that you guys will talk more through what intimacy with God looks like in your own lives, and that you guys will make great decisions, that you guys would go out and go to great colleges and make a difference on your campus, and when you graduate, make a difference in the business world. And some of you are going to be lawyers, and some of you are still holding on to hoop dreams because you want to go to the NBA. I'm just letting you know, chances are slim, but you might. Hey, you might go to the NBA, you might make a difference, but whatever it is that you feel like, God is putting on your heart, you get to do that with him. You don't have to do it by yourself. And it all starts simply with building your intimacy with